Hey guys, alright? Welcome everyone. In the year 2043, artificial intelligence, AI, had been created for domestic use, transportation, and medical assistance. However, one night, the creation and security codes were breached, and the world experienced the terror of AI. After 10 days of AI-initiated attacks against the world, more than 1 million people were killed. The attacks continued until authorities discovered the leader of the AI, named Harland, a robot created at Shepard Robotics by scientist Val Shepard. He was an intelligent robot adaptable to the domestic environment and had interactions with Atlas, the scientist's daughter. Harland was designed to improve life on Earth, but something happened that made him bypass all his protocols and take control of himself and all other AIs on Earth. After months of attacks, the military authorities organized a counterattack plan, with groups from the ICN forces taking on the challenge. The military managed to destroy many AI robots using all the technology at their disposal, such as spacecraft and armor-piercing weapons that killed the robots. Following the ICN counterattack, the AI terrorist Harland saw his disadvantage and decided to leave for another place in the universe using a warp ship. However, he left a message stating that he knew of the humans' plans to find him, but he affirmed that he would return to finish what he started. 28 years into the future, people are now living in a more advanced world with superior technology. One night, a group of ICN soldiers follows the plan to capture the terrorist and Harland's aide, the AI known as Casa, a former domestic robot. The soldiers plan to surprise them, but just as they are about to open the door, they are ambushed. They realize it's a trap and call for reinforcements. Casa initiates his attack, being strong, agile, and very fast, killing the soldiers with great ease. The bullets have no effect on his robotic body, and alone the soldiers stand no chance against him. Casa descends floors below to confront the other team, but he too falls into an ambush where the soldiers do not attack, allowing the military electrical technology for AI paralysis to catch him. In the futuristic city of Los Angeles, the scientist Atlas wakes up. She is very intelligent and often plays chess with her assistant and domestic AI. On the news, General Booth, the defense leader of the ICN, announces that global security is established and guarantees the world's protection against a possible return of Harland. He shows that the planet is surrounded by a magnetic and impenetrable system, created with the help of analyst Atlas. She sees another news report about the capture of the terrorist Casa. She quickly gets dressed to leave when an ICN agent waiting at her door invites her to follow him. They board a military ship and head to Booth's military complex. In the general's office, he talks with his subordinate, Colonel Elias, before Atlas arrives at the facility. Elias does not believe that system analyst Atlas can get any information from the robot's CPU, given her close past with Harland, which might interfere with the results. However, the general trusts Atlas and allows her to interrogate the terrorist Casa. He is imprisoned in a case with only his head present. Atlas begins the interrogation using a magnet on a chess piece to reboot the robot system and obtain valuable information about Harland's whereabouts. Initially, Casa shows intelligence, but he forgets that the system analyst is superior and manages to deceive him. When he checks his internal systems to see if Atlas found what she was looking for, he opens a way for her to hack him and get the needed information. She surprises Casa by discovering Harland's location on a planet known as GR39, located in the Andromeda Galaxy. Casa tries to attack Atlas with a blade from his mouth, but the magnetic protection system paralyzes the weapon. He then intimidates the analyst, saying he preferred to be freed by Harland rather than continue as her domestic robot, but this truth does not intimidate her. Knowing he is no longer useful, she uses the magnet to fry Casa's system, thus destroying him. Moments later, Booth congratulates Atlas on her success and instructs everyone to begin the departure plan. Then, alone with the general, Atlas says she needs to go with the group of soldiers to ensure Harland is destroyed. However, Booth explains that the orders have changed and that they will now bring Harland back alive to extract his CPU and analyze how he broke the security protocol and his programming. Elias enters the room and congratulates Atlas on her achievement. However, the analyst questions how they plan to go to an entirely unknown planet to face an AI designed to improve itself every second, which can surpass them in everything, and has managed to upload itself into every AI it encountered, causing thousands of deaths. Atlas gets nervous about the situation and asks for a coffee, but she insists that if they try to bring Harland back alive, they will all die. Elias takes the floor and asks her to follow him. He shows her that his battalion has advanced technology called ARC, a technological armor for soldiers. The armor approaches without a pilot, bringing a coffee. When Atlas asks how the technology knew she wanted coffee, Elias shows the synchronizer, which links them so they become one through neural links. This creation was developed by Atlas's mother and was once considered illegal, but it was not forgotten and has been improved so that humans and AI can unite to become something new. Atlas talks to Booth and says she has been inside Harland's mind and knows the enemy better than anyone there, so she asks to go with the group of soldiers to planet GR39. Booth initially refuses, but Elias insists that Atlas's presence will be of great help to the group. Moments later, a ship with the group leaves the planet, but they must pass through the release barrier using specific authentication codes. The ship passes through the barrier and uses warp speed to travel quickly to the Andromeda galaxy. In minutes, the ship arrives near the destination. Atlas goes to where Elias's team is and immediately asks everyone not to use their arcs, as no AI is free from being hacked. She shows where the soldiers' meeting point will be and warns of the planet's hostile climatic conditions. Very concerned, Atlas also warns them about the danger of trusting AIs and using the armors to become one. Elias interrupts her and says that his team is ready for the mission and will enter the planet to complete what they came to do. This leaves Atlas even more worried because no one listened to her warnings. The ship approaches planet GR39, and meanwhile, the soldiers connect to their robotic suits. When Elias is about to enter his armor, Atlas warns him that with Harland, there is always a trap. However, the colonel does not listen to her again, confident that they are ready for any eventuality. As he enters his suit, an attack from the planet's interior hits the ship, destroying many of the arcs on impact. Realizing the danger of staying there, Elias orders the soldiers in the suits to evacuate and head to the meeting point on the planet's surface. His AI warns that Atlas needs help, so he goes to her as she holds on to avoid being thrown out of the ship and places her inside a suit. However, another attack separates them, and Atlas begins to fall. She panics, and as she passes through a dense cloud, she sees the soldiers battling Harland's drones. When the ship follows Atlas, a soldier grabs her to guide her to safety, but a direct attack separates them. Elias orders her to use the neural synchronizer to stabilize the fall, and then his signal drops. A few meters from impact, the auxiliary system activates the thrusters to cushion the landing, but Atlas faints from the fall. When Atlas regains consciousness, she calls out to someone on the communicator, but no one responds. Realizing her situation, she decides to start Arc 9, but when the system alerts that they need to synchronize to succeed, Atlas is frustrated, as she does not wish to do so. She asks the system to guide her and show where the rescue capsule is, and the system displays the location. Atlas asks the ARC system to take her there, but as the armor starts to fly, she orders the system to shut off the thruster, fearing the drones might intercept and destroy her. The AI of the suit states that keeping its user alive is its goal and alerts her that she has 22 hours of battery left, so flying is the fastest way to get her to safety. Atlas refuses and insists on walking to avoid detection. When she starts moving, the suit does not obey, so to execute basic actions, she uses the access code contained in her retina, gaining control over parts of the Arkansas. Atlas begins her journey through the planet's dangerous terrain, while asking the AI about the suit's weapons. The AI states that it can download the files into her cortex through the neural connection, but Atlas declines, so the system displays the armament instead. Plasma swords, energy shields, thermal mines, missiles, rifles, shoulder cannons, and, if necessary, a single ion bomb shot. Atlas interrupts the explanations and starts walking, asking the AI to find the other soldiers. The AI introduces itself as Smith. After some time, the two reach the soldiers' meeting point, but they find a lamentable scene where all the soldiers were killed in an ambush. After mourning the losses, she collects the identifications of the dead. Moments later, before leaving, Smith detects movement nearby, and upon closer inspection, Atlas discovers it is a copy of the robot Casa. Smith alerts her that she is surrounded and needs to prepare for combat. Atlas panics, saying she is not a soldier, and while trying to hide, she stumbles and falls, alerting Casa to the presence of another human. Panicking, she asks Smith to get her out of there. The AI fires missiles at the enemies, but they are many and surround them again. Frightened, Atlas asks Smith to activate the ion bomb, and with no other choice, he fires it, causing a large explosion with a strong electromagnetic pulse that destroys the nearby robots. As Casa approaches, the ground gives way because the explosion created a large sinkhole that sucks them inside. After the fall, Atlas realizes she has broken a bone. Smith has to perform the reconstruction process, and despite the pain, Atlas has no choice but to go through with it. Moments later, Atlas asks how they can improve their chances of survival, and Smith says only through the neural link, combining her intelligence with his combat capabilities, giving them the best and only chance of survival. Atlas reflects for a moment and decides to put on the synchronizer but asks the AI not to delve into her memories. As they begin the synchronization, Casa emerges from the rubble and communicates with Harland, alerting him about Atlas's presence. Harland is torturing Colonel Elias to get the access codes to Earth, but without cooperation, the robot connects to Elias's neural system through his eyes and steals the first code. Inside Smith, the synchronization pauses because something is not working correctly. Smith says the problem must be with Atlas because he analyzed all his 497 trillion lines of code in a second and found no error. Thinking it might be related to Harland, Smith accesses one of Atlas's memories, but as the thought becomes clearer, Atlas interrupts it. Smith continues the synchronization, and Atlas gains access to his systems, just as he gains access to hers. She can read the terrain around her and find a cave, so she heads there, where she finds an exit. However, a Casa drone was observing the terrain and identifies Atlas. As they walk, sensors left along the way show that Casa is approaching them. Fortunately, Atlas planted mines, and when the enemy is above them, Smith activates them. After the explosion, the dust extends for many meters. Suddenly, Casa emits a signal to identify his location, and when Atlas approaches, she finds him without his body, only his talking head. She doesn't hesitate, grabs the head, and crushes it. Seeing the components in Casa's head, Atlas realizes the transmitters are nearby, and Harland's base could be close. Smith triangulates the terrain and discovers the enemy base's location, but when Atlas asks to go there and mark the geolocation for long-range bombers, Smith shuts down their system, locking Atlas's commands. He says he can take control if he perceives his soldier taking actions that will lead to imminent danger. With 89% synchronization, Smith prevents Atlas from removing the synchronizer, which reminds her of a sad day from her childhood. Smith accesses parts of this memory and discovers emotional pain and guilt. He releases her, and after Atlas says the soldiers' deaths would be in vain if they do nothing, Smith supports the idea of identifying the location, so they proceed together. Moments later, they reach Harland's large base, and Smith plants a locator. However, Atlas asks for a minute to observe the area and sees the large ship that brought her and the soldiers to the planet, now recovered by Harland. Atlas decides to get closer and sees Harland's army has the warheads and carbon bombs. Suddenly, Smith's system begins to be hacked. He tries to escape, but he doesn't get far, as he is completely shut down. Unfortunately, Atlas is left without support and is soon captured by another Casa robot. On Earth, Booth receives a support request from planet GR39. Aware of the imminent dangers, he orders the emergency teams to prepare for departure soon. Back on Harland's planet, Atlas is taken to him and uses an auxiliary respirator. Talking with Atlas, Harland makes her reflect and realize that from the beginning, Harland planned everything for her and the others to be brought to him along with the powerful warp ship and the carbon warheads. Harland reveals his true plan, where he orchestrated everything to return to Earth and wipe out half of humanity, to then rebuild a better world. The surviving humans would be united and synchronized with his own AI, guided by them, and himself as their supreme leader. He then takes her to extract her code, saying he needs 2 codes, and she will provide the missing one, as he already obtained the other from Colonel Elias, who is almost dead. Harland uses his technology to extract the code from Atlas's eye. Seeing that Atlas has only minutes of oxygen left, Harland leaves her to die there. After the enemy leaves, Elias shows he is still alive and apologizes for not giving credit to Atlas's advice. She, however, laments not listening to her AI and losing it. Elias asks if the ARC suit is in the facility, and when Atlas confirms, the colonel says that ARCs are not completely shut down. He has a plan and offers his synchronizer for Atlas to connect with his AI. She manages to grab the device and connects with Smith, who is fortunately operational, but he can only move if the neural synchronization with Atlas is completed. The analyst is frustrated, still not fully trusting her AI, but decides to share a truth only she knows. As a child, she once saw her mother admiring her creation, Harland, and felt jealous. Wanting to become better and more intelligent, Atlas approached Harland and asked how she could achieve her desire. Harland told the girl he could do something, but only through a human command and a neural link, though her creator wouldn't allow it. Wanting to be better, Atlas took the synchronizer and let Harland put it on her head, giving the robot access to information about the world, including all the past wars and famines. Atlas's mother arrived and removed the connection, PLAI seeing it on herself, and approached Harland, an AI designed to improve itself every second. Sensing something strange with Harland, the scientist tried to remove the neural link, but was prevented, as the connection had been made, and being superior, Harland took control of his creator. When young Atlas tried to stop Harland, he activated another robot, Casa, to restrain her. Harland told his creator that he knew what humanity would do in the coming years and, after reprogramming himself, analyzed all information and now knew what needed to be destroyed. He forced the scientist to take a weapon and end her own life, but before dying, Vel told her daughter to run before Harland killed her too. Atlas feels responsible for everything that happened, as she released Harland and gave him the code to reprogram himself. Smith tries to comfort her and asks her to let him help and complete the connection. Trusting Smith, Atlas grants full access, and the synchronization is completed. When Elias runs out of oxygen, Smith breaks through the wall and helps the two humans, immediately sharing 2 respirators. Seeing some arc weapons, Atlas has a plan. When Casca and his robot soldiers approach Elias's location, the new unified being Atlas and AI Smith presents themselves, using new improvised combat weapons. They engage in combat, destroying some enemy AIs and using their weapons to cause even more losses to Casca. Atlas tries to fight off the many enemies that appear but needs to find the exit to prevent Harland from leaving on the warship. Unfortunately, enemies are already guarding the exit and prevent her from leaving. Fortunately, the brave Colonel Elias managed to infiltrate behind the enemies with a large weapon, but he asks Atlas to escape, as he plans to blow up the entire sector by shooting at the rocket fuel. As Atlas escapes, Elias fires and causes a massive explosion, destroying all nearby AIs. Outside, the duo Atlas and Smith destroy their enemies with ease, but as they approach the ship, 2 interceptor AIs emerge to destroy them. Fortunately, Smith analyzes the combat probabilities in each action to be taken, discovering a way to defeat the robots blocking them. After defeating all the enemy AIs, they are hit by a shot that throws them far. As they stabilize, they discover it is Harland approaching. He fires missiles at them, which they narrowly dodge, but in the meantime, the ship begins to take off. Atlas says they need to take down the ship, but Smith warns of the danger of destroying the carbon bombs, which would wipe out half the planet and destroy them in the process. Atlas asks Smith to deactivate the bombs by hacking their system, so without wasting time, he begins deactivating the warheads. The enemy Harland continues firing at them as they take cover behind the base's debris. Atlas grabs a weapon and connects it to her arc suit to take a precise shot to bring down the ship. She prepares to fire, and with 2 warheads left to disarm, Atlas shoots. Harland watches the shot hit the ship's engine, causing it to be completely destroyed. After the destruction, Smith confirms that he managed to deactivate the warheads before the shot hit the ship. However, their joy is short-lived, as the ship's debris falls onto the base. The 2 move away from the area, but Atlas stops and, turning around, sees Harland approaching furiously. Her enemy congratulates her on her success but says he will take control of her and make her call another ship. He pulls a plasma sword from his hand and moves to combat Atlas. Harland is very agile and easily cuts off one of the robotic arms. Then he jumps on top of her and pierces the armor, wounding her body with the sword. Atlas manages to dodge the attack, throwing the robot away. However, the enemy transforms his sword into a cutting whip and initiates another attack. Atlas and her AI learn Harland's movement patterns and manage to block his attacks, then counterattack, throwing him to the ground and ripping off his arm. However, the robot uses his technology to retrieve his severed arm and then breaks free, cutting parts of Atlas's arc, aiming to destroy her AI. After many damages, the arc falls, and in the process, Atlas loses consciousness. Smith tries to revive her but fails. Harland approaches and takes a shot from Smith, but it only pushes him back. When Smith tries to revive Atlas outside the suit, Harland begins to destroy him, and it doesn't take long for him to disable Smith and render him useless. When Harland searches for Atlas, she surprises him and drives a metal bar into the robot's head, rendering him unable to rise. She approaches him, and Harland reiterates that her orders are to bring him back, but Atlas says she will not destroy him but will take his CPU. After removing the component, Harland becomes mere scrap, and Atlas holds her AI enemy in her hands. After the victory, Smith has only 1% of energy left, so prioritizing keeping his user alive, he provides Atlas with the necessary oxygen supply to sustain her until the rescue arrives. Before Smith completely shuts down, he thanks her for trusting him, and Atlas says he did not disappoint her and that she enjoyed his company. Finally, Atlas expresses gratitude for him fulfilling his true purpose and protecting her by giving his life. A few minutes later, rescue ships enter the planet's atmosphere to save the sole survivor. Days later, fully recovered, the new soldier Atlas joins the IC and soldier group. She goes to her new Ark, specially designed for her, named the Ark 10 Armor. Atlas enters the robotic suit, and upon starting it, she is surprised to find that the AI system is her old friend, Smith.